My name is Sarah Merrick, and this is my demonstration speech. Who hasn't heard about the increasing rise of obesity in America? Probably none of you, especially since it's such a demanding topic within children today. Caused by frequent stops at the drive-thru and constantly eating out at restaurants. Researchers of these statistics of the growing epidemic are pushing for people to do at-more home cooking. However, when I was growing up, I rarely ever ate at home. It was all about eating out and going through drive-thrus. My mother never cooked, and my father had no idea what to do in the kitchen. The only thing I ever knew how to make was something from a box, or what I claimed to have as an at-home cooking was a frozen pizza in the oven. I never really learned how to successfully bake or cook until I started my job a year ago. I learned how to cook and bake by helping people with spinal cord injuries who are interested in cooking in the kitchen. I have cooked and baked more this year than I ever have in my whole entire life. I'm going to demonstrate how to make creme de mint cookies that I learned how to bake with a resident from my work. It is a very simple cookie recipe with a few short steps. Now first, you're probably thinking cookies are not a very nutritious snack. However, they are healthier than the ones that you can get from food joints or restaurants because you know exactly what kind of ingredients go in them. Along with knowing what ingredients go in them, you can always substitute and make modifications to decrease the fat content. Now, when you first are going to bake anything, the most important step is to preheat your oven. With these cookies, you need to preheat them to 350 degrees. First, you want to measure out all of your ingredients, which I have already done, and then combine them together. I'm going to do the brown sugar, which is 3/4 cup, and the sugar, that's a 1/2 cup. I also took a 1/2 cup of butter, and I melted it. You can use 2 eggs, you need 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and you also need 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Now you can start by mixing these up first and getting them really well blended together before you add the flour and the creme de mint chips. Next, I'm going to add the flour, which is 2 2/3 cups. I'm going to add little by little so it's not as difficult to stir, along with 1 10-ounce package of Andy's creme de mint chips. I personally think the worst thing about baking is the stirring and the waiting for the cookies to bake. always use an electric mixer if you have one, which is much easier. Okay. After you're done stirring, you need to put the cookie batter into the fridge and let it chill for an hour. While you're doing that, you can take your pan and you can line it with aluminum foil, which I like to do so that way nothing really sticks. And at the end, it's an easy cleanup. So after your cookie dough has been chilling for an hour, it's going to look a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more formed and easier to put into cookie form. The next step is to roll them into little balls, flatten them a little, and put them on the cookie sheet. With the long pans, I usually like to do them 3 across and 4 down, but to save time, put them on the cookie sheet and put them in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. Once they're done, it's always important to put them on a cooling rack for at least 2 minutes, that way they're cool. And then at the end, you have these delicious looking cookies that everyone can try. Like I mentioned before, you can always substitute using healthier versions such as Greek yogurt instead of sour cream or applesauce instead of butter. If you take anything from this demonstration besides a cookie recipe, let it be that cooking and baking at home can be a great everyday hobby that anyone can do. Not only will it make your taste buds happy, but it'll also make your heart healthy as well. The end.